Hey everybody, my name is LaPrecious and welcome to my channel. It's Talk with LaPrecious. So today I'm going to be doing the recap or the review of HazelE and Masika part 2 of the conversation that was streamed live tonight around 8 o'clock on the Zeus Network. So what happened in the beginning of the episode was that they pretty much did a recap of everything that happened in the first episode between Masika and HazelE and where it left off. So when it came to Masika and HazelE where they left off with a standoff. HazelE was just sitting in her chair calmly. HazelE pretty much wasn't doing anything. She was just listening to what Masika had said. And Masika, being a bougie queen that she is, she was standing, in front of HazelE behind the chair. And, the security was there. And she was pretty much saying, I'm not going to sit down because I feel like I'm going to crack your head with the chair. So I'm just going to stand here and I'm just wait until you apologize about what you said about my child. And so HazelE was saying, I never said anything about your child. I never said anything about your daughter. So what are you talking about? And Masika just started shouting and yelling and calling her names. And HazelE was pretty much saying, I want to know what my disgusting self had said. And then as HazelE and Masika are just trying to talk to, well, really HazelE trying to talk to Masika, and Masika just being very overly dramatic, very queenly, and just very just pompous at that. And so as we get along with HazelE and Masika talking to each other, then HazelE's best friend starts jumping in, starts calling Masika names, starts cussing out Masika, and Masika was like, "I don't need any background noise. Why do I hear this noise?" And she starts calling her fat, a monkey, a buffalo, and all these crazy names. Now, breaking away from what was said by each party, whether it was HazelE or Masika, I feel like Masika, she really ruined this whole conversation experience that everybody was expecting on the Zeus network. Because when Masika and HazelE first came together for this conversation, I'm sure it was very highly anticipated by everybody who's in love with Love and Hip Hop or VH1 or any type of reality TV show or deal. And I felt like if Masika wanted to hash this out so well, or wanted to hash this out the way that she wanted to, she should have sat down like an adult and really heard HazelE for what she had to say. And if she didn't want, and if she didn't want to talk to HazelE anymore or further, then she just should have let it go. Because by her doing this whole big thing, I'm not sitting down, I'm not talking, you need to apologize to me. And if you're not going to apologize to me, then oh well, we're not going to have the conversation. It really would have been better if Masika would have just walked away and would have just left the whole thing. But I just feel like she ruined the whole conversation experience by being overly dramatic and just wanted to leave and not even finish. Because, in my opinion, whether HazelE said anything about Masika's child, who cares? I mean, Masika pretty much had her daughter, Kari Barbie, I believe that's her name, by Fetty Wap. And we all know that Masika pretty much thought that she was as good as gold, that she was the best baby mama around, that everybody loved her, everybody liked her, including Fetty Wap. And Fetty Wap didn't even wife her. Fetty Wap didn't even claim her pretty much as his girlfriend. And by the looks of it, to me, Masika just appeared to be one of the baby mamas who thought that since she had a palpable career, that she was a model, and that she's done all of this cover work for these different companies, that she was somehow seen as a girlfriend. But I'm like, Fetty Wap, he still got you pregnant, and then he wasn't even there with you the whole pregnancy. Then after you had Car Barbie, he went and got two other girls pregnant. So I'm like, Masika, you live in this la la fairy tale land where you were this man's diehard girlfriend, and where he just loved and cared for you so much. And he really didn't, because if he would have, then y'all would have gotten married and then y'all would have had a happy family, and you didn't. Because ever since this whole Love and Hip Hop scenario has happened between Masika and HazelE, Masika really hasn't done that well at all. The only thing I've seen Masika do public wise is be on Growing Up Hip Hop with Bow Wow. And I think she tried to have a little fling or a little relationship with Bow Wow. That didn't turn into nothing, because we all know Bow Wow is very immature. He can't keep his cool, and he likes to fight everybody just to be tough, because he can't make up for the lack of the career that he used to have, but he doesn't have anymore. And Masika even got into it with Johnny Blaze. And Johnny Blaze, she said, you know what, girl? She said, you need to go and make you some money because you're doing all this arguing, all this talking, and it's not making any sense. So Masika is like the only thing she's accomplished since Love and Hip Hop. Bow Wow has short man syndrome. Yeah, he's trying to make up for the height that he doesn't have. And so with Masika, it's like the only further you've gone in Hollywood or whatnot, as far as reality TV, is just growing up hip hop. And we all know, aside from the conversation, that growing up hip hop is just not that good of a show, in my opinion. To me, it's just nothing but a whole bunch of rappers' kids just trying to live life on their own. They're not making any music, and if they make any music, it's not going anywhere, and it's like they're just playing around with their parents' money. So breaking away from that and getting back to the conversation between HazelE and Masika. Now, once all of this arguing and bickering is going on, HazelE pretty much is just sitting there and everything, and she's trying to get up because, Masika is just charging at her and whatnot. And then all of a sudden, that's when the wig snatching happens. Now, I know in the last video, and based off of what the reports were saying before the first episode had aired, that Devon had snatched Masika's wig. But come to find out, it was either BB or Yaya. I believe it was one of Masika. No, not Masika's. It was one of HazelE's entourage people or one of her friends. Now, the thing is, the Zeus cameras did not get anything of the wig snatching incident at all. And I believe they did this for security reasons, but also for I'm glad it snatched her wig. Yeah, I'm glad it snatched her wig too, because it was about time Masika got beat up for something. Because Masika has been dog hoggish trash to HazelE since the beginning. HazelE, Tierra Marie, and those are the only two other than Young Bird that really bullied and treated HazelE really bad. Oh yeah, and who is Jason Lee, the guy who's the owner of Hollywood Unlocked? He threw a drink in HazelE's face. And I think that was around maybe season 2 or season 3 of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. And so it's like a lot of people have just treated HazelE like trash. So I believe that Masika, she deserved to get her, wig snatched. And so when the cameras and stuff, yes, Masika. Yes, Jason Lee is a B, always in women's business. Yeah, Jason Lee is a B. He's always in women's business. He's always bullying people, talking about people, trashing people, and everything. That's just who he is. That's his brand. That's what, he's about. So, anyways, it's like as soon as the wig snatching incident, the cameras just went to the ground, and you know how they jostle about, and they jostled like that mainly because of security reasons. Everybody knows that when it comes to Love and Hip Hop, and a lot of these reality TV shows, we only see like the scruff and scrapple of the fights. And I think they do it because if an actual assault happens where somebody gets cut, stabbed, punched, and whatnot, it keeps the network safe. There's no proof or no public evidence that such and such was hit by ABC and that ABC hit or assaulted, evidence or person D. Because if they do that, then the network can get sued, people can go to jail, and it's just a whole lot of mess that can happen. So I believe that's why the cameras were like really shaking when that happened. Oh, thank you, Quad. And so moving along from that, you hear HazelE just screaming, "You effing B, I'm going to cut you up. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to stab you, blah, blah, blah." Then we hear her screaming, sounding like she's like punching and pulling somebody over and, just like a scuffle. And then we hear glass breaking and everything. So it appears that either Yaya or BB, two people from HazelE's team, was the ones that hit HazelE. And she's like, "You're going to punk hit me like that? You're going to snatch my wig from behind? You're going to pull me up from surprise? You're going to hit me? That's a punk move. That's a this move. That's a that move," and everything. And I'm glad that either BB or Yaya, whoever it was, they got her like that. Because the way it sounds, based on what Masika was saying that happened to her in the aftermath, is that her finger might have been broken. Her earring got pulled where, her earlobe might have gotten ripped. She got hit in the face and her wig got snatched. And I mean, Masika, it was well deserved because she's been bullying HazelE. She's been doing a whole lot since the beginning, and she deserved it. And then, later on in the scene when Devon and Hazel and her best friend and everybody had to move outside because when this whole incident happened, they told HazelE and Devon and her best friend, they said everybody got to get out. Everybody got to get out the house. You got to go outside. You got to cross the street. We all have to get all of these people out. And so, when everybody was getting out of the house and whatnot, HazelE was pretty much saying, she says, I'm hood in these streets. I'm still Hollywood. I may have a daughter and everything, but I still run LA. You can't run me. I'm still hood and everything like that. You know how HazelE usually talks of stuff and everything. And Masika kept saying her beef is due to Hazel speaking on her daughter, but she couldn't even answer what Hazel said, offended her so much. Exactly. Like Masika, she just saying, like, I'm not going to sit down until you apologize to me. I'm not going to sit down until you like apologize for what you said. And I feel like Masika, HazelE doesn't owe you anything. You pretty much got what you deserve by having your wig snatched and your face scratched up the way that you did and your earlobe snatched. And then Masika even got karma earlier on when she thought she had a one up on HazelE when HazelE had that situationship with Young Bird and she turned around and dated Young Bird. And then when she was dating Young Bird after part one of the reunion, there was an incident where Young Bird and Masika was at a hotel, and the way the story goes was that a scuffle or a fight had happened between Young Bird and Masika, and Young Bird ended up choking her. He actually choked her out. And when that thing happened, you know how a lot of these networks had to protect themselves by being the public service person. We don't condone violence. We don't condone domestic violence. So they fired Young Bird. And Masika, I don't even think she came on part two of the reunion because of that. So yeah, that was karma number one for her. And I want to say this is really karma number three. Well, no. Okay, so you got embarrassed by Fetty Wap after that. So that's karma number two. Then moving along to that, oh yeah, Zell said she had dirty heels and whatnot because she did the same thing when she was fighting with Alexa Sky. Even Alexa Sky had did the exact same thing, and I think this was maybe season 4 or 5 when they were on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. And you remember that Alexa Sky got into it with Masika about Fetty Wap because, Masika was pregnant and come to find out that it wasn't Fetty's baby. But that's what Masika and not Masika and Alexa Sky were arguing about. And even then, they had a square off with Alexa Sky and her people, Masika and Zales and other people. And Masika, was taking the mic off. I'm not giving this girl any more camera time. I'm sick of making girls famous. I'm not doing this. I'm walking off. I'm bigger than this. I'm better than this. And she did the same thing to Alexa Sky. My thing is Masika is all bark but no bite. She loves to talk this big game. She loves to throw stuff and bum rush people and everything. And she can't fight for anything. And it's like when the people that she's fighting want to come and fight back, she won't do nothing. She'll call the police. She'll walk off, throw the mic. And Zales even said she had dirty heels. And he says, Zales, she says, what are you doing? Says you wanted to talk to this girl and you weren't talking to the girl. Said, go on and walk with your dirty heels then. And yeah, and it's like Masika always tries to walk off like the pretty girl who's big and bad, but she's always the one that's starting the fights. And I feel like Masika needs to get it in her head that, you lost. You lost every fight that you've come up against because you think you're this big bad girl, you're the Don Juana, and you're not. Even Fetty didn't even make you the main girl. So if you wasn't even the main girl made by the main dude that you were seeing and dating and had this baby by, then what are you then? And then on top of that, when she was seeing Molly Mall, it was the same thing, a situationship. Molly Mall was Nikki Baby's man. And I'm like, come on, girl. Like, you need to get some balls. You need to get some, couth or some type of self-esteem because you are always the one on the losing team in this scenario. You've been losing since the beginning. And I feel like Masika has this big ego to make up for what she lacks. Masika seems like she has always been the side chick. You act like the other woman are in the wrong. Yeah, and she always been the side chick, acting like the main chick, but she's not. Okay, HazelE always been the main chick. Yeah, HazelE has always been the main chick. And so once we get to the whole scenario when they were fighting in the conversation, that's when they moved everybody outside. And so they told the best friend that she needed to go across the street because they didn't want her nowhere near the scene. And so you could hear Masika just hollering, screaming, and everything about get my wig. She gonna sneak diss me and gonna sneak hit me. She hit my eye, hit me upside the head and everything. And then HazelE, she was pretty much saying, she said, y'all know what? She says, y'all got the conversation, y'all got the war. Now I want the wig as my trophy. She said, because that's my trophy. Because she said, you snatched my wig on what season 3 of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, but said you got your wig snatched, so let me have it for a trophy and everything. So yeah, she wanted the trophy and all of that. And then when they were outside, it was HazelE, Devon. Then they were talking about BB and Yaya being in the back, and then the friend was out there. And Devon even said it. He says, you know what? The joke's on you. He says every time she tries to bother people or bother somebody, she's always getting her karma. And they said, you know what? This is her karma. And HazelE has been getting her karma because everything she's done publicly, it's been the same old thing. Ever since she's been on Love and Hip Hop, trying to be the main girl, trying to be the top dog, she ends up being made out to be a fool. It's like they played you on Love and Hip Hop, they played you on Growing Up Hip Hop, and even after the fact, you doing all this OnlyFans stuff on Instagram, and then you doing all this other stuff with the Rose Company where you got embarrassed, trying to be an advocate for sex trafficking, and then you making up a little fake video where you're like crying all in the mirror with fake blood all over you, making it look like you were actually kidnapped. Then you had to come back and verify that you wasn't even getting kidnapped. And then you had all these people online, and you had the president of the Rose company talking, trying to defend themselves. I'm like, Masika, you look silly to be that old and to be that mature and that unbothered. Masika, she loves to always say, mind the business that pays you. But it's like the only way, Masika, you can get paid is if you mind everybody else's business. And in this little business that you have, it looks like it's hardly paying you anything because you're always in the news for drama. Like most people that are so booked and busy and unbothered, we hear about your numbers. We hear about your work. We're the ones scrolling through your pictures, trying to figure out how you do what you do. Instead, we're scrolling through the Instagram timeline or story to see why is Masika in the news again. And of course, she's always commenting on the shade room when they got something to say. She's always tweeting about somebody, minding somebody else's business, and talking about other people. So Masika, she's only famous because of drama. If she wasn't in any drama, we wouldn't even care about Masika unless it had something to do with Love and Hip Hop, Hollywood as a recap. Now, when it comes to HazelE, HazelE pretty much has her own thing. HazelE, a little backstory, she started off as a PR person. So she pretty much already had connections and whatnot. And now she wanted to get into music. Now, moving along from music, HazelE, I'm team HazelE, but I hate to say it, she can't rap. Music is not her gift. I think HazelE should do more maybe modeling, acting, stuff like that. Leave that music alone. Now, where can I see this episode? They have it on the Zeus Network. It's not free. I'm going to repeat that again. The Zeus Network is not free. You do have to pay for it like you do with Netflix, like you do with Spotify, all of these things. Yes, it's only $4. So since all you have to do is just go to the Zeus Network, pay your $4 streaming fee, and then you'll be able to watch it. And so now when everybody was outside, HazelE was saying, where's my phone? Yes, you can cancel right at. Well, I'm not sure how you can cancel it right after because some streaming services, they won't let you cancel until maybe 24 hours before your next, I think, bill is due. You'll have to read the fine print because everybody's streaming services is different when you pull out of the subscription. And so, HazelE is saying, I lost my phone. I lost my phone. Then the cops get called. And so everybody's standing outside, and she was pretty much defending herself. I think we were pretty much dealing with the security people. And hold on, guys, because my battery was running low on my computer, and I need to get the charger. Okay, we're good now. So, when it comes to the police getting called, and then you had the security coming out asking HazelE all these stupid questions like she was the one that did something in the wrong. And my thing is, it's like this little dude, I don't know who he was. I think he was with security or something. He was pretty much defending Masika. He was saying, well, how was she threatening you? How was she doing this? And HazelE, she said she tried to throw glass at me. She says, I'm 8 weeks postpartum. She says, you're trying to throw glass at me and you're about to assault me with glass. And so how can you sit here and say that she didn't do anything? And I mean, this guy was just defending her. And then HazelE even told the dude, he was like, she said I said something about her child, but she said something about mine. And the security dude was like, a child is a child. I'm like, a child is a child. I'm like, this whole conversation, this war started because Masika said HazelE started talking bad about Masika's child. And so that whole dude, they could have kept him in the back and kept him off camera because he was just talking way too much, talking way too senseless and reckless, and it was just a mess. And then Hazel, was defending herself. Then her friend was defending her, and then Devon was defending her as well. And this is how you know that Devon really likes HazelE because he defends her like no other. And they was even joking because Masika was saying when she was inside, she says, "Yeah, you're married to a young lady that you pay." The young lady that you pay to be your husband and whatnot. And they was joking. They said, well, how much do I pay you? He said, probably more than what you paid me, a couple of months ago. And then they was kissing and everything. And I feel like I said, everybody says that Devon is like her little boy or like Devon is like her, little side dude or whatever. But I could tell Devon really likes her. So I feel like he's team HazelE all the way. Quan TV, I always like both of them, honestly, to be completely honest. Well, only because she made me laugh with the joke she was always saying to Hazel. Oh, I myself, I never thought HazelE was funny at all. To me, Masika is, wait a minute, let me backtrack. In my opinion, I never thought Masika was funny because Masika, to me, ever since she came on Love and Hip Hop, has always been this I'm better than everybody girl. She did it to Nikki Baby. She did it to HazelE. She did it to Alexa Sky. Any girl she had an issue with or felt threatened by, she always had a problem with them. And so that's why I've never been Team Masika. And every time Masika has always thought she was better, somebody always came back around to let her know that she's not that girl. So then the police come. So when they're doing all this fighting and stuff like that, the police come. And I mean the police, they came strapped, but they came in a team. Like this was like LAPD type of police showing up. It was about 4 police officers, maybe 5 at the most. And I mean, this is how you know it got real. Then Masika, they went back on the inside asking Masika like what happened. Masika called the police. Yeah, Masika, she called the police. Masika called the police because she said that she was assaulted. She was assaulted by getting her wig snatched. She was assaulted by getting scratched up and everything. Masika in the episode acted like the Wicked Witch from the West that got water thrown on her. Yeah, she did. Especially when she was like screaming and crying about her wig and stuff being snatched. It was ridiculous. And so, yeah, the police came. They got out the car. Now, I thought because Masika was inside, she's saying, why did they let this girl leave? Like, why did they just, why did they let this girl leave? What was it about this girl that they just let her leave and get away with this? I personally thought that once they started focusing on, she sounded like a whole man screaming like that. She did. She sounded like the Wicked Witch and Ursula mixed together. She sounded like when they throw water on the Wicked Witch that, oh, I'm melting when her wig got snatched off. Yes, that's exactly what she sounded like. And so Masika, they pretty much focused on Masika and what happened to her. And I thought when they got to that HazelE and Devon and Yaya and Bibi, they all had left, but they were still outside. And so moving along from that, they was asking Masika, are you pressing charges? He says, yes, I'm pressing charges. And so when they started bringing Masika out, That's when everybody was seen all together outside. They made sure to keep Hazel and Masika away from each other. And Hazel was in her car with her phone, on IG saying what happened. And I believe that was what we saw before these two episodes had aired on the Zeus network, and that's pretty much where everybody was pulling stuff from. Masika deserved it all. I'm sorry, she been bullying Hazel 4 years. I would have whooped that BA. Yeah, I agree. Masika, she did deserve it. Masika deserved every scratch, pull, pinch, and broken finger that she got because she did bully HazelE. And one thing I want to tell y'all that I love reality TV to an extent, and it's entertainment, but they put these people through a lot of stuff. The wig was a hot mess. The person that snatched it off to the audience a justified favor. Yes, they did. Her wig deserved to be snatched, and that wig was just way too blonde for Masika. She should have did like maybe a dark brown or a black that she usually wears. Cause that wig was just way too loud. I can't stand seeing women, especially black women, when they have these loud ass wigs on, because it makes them look hookerish. And they even told Masika she looked like a hooker with that wig on, and she did. But moving back to what we saw on IG, and I believe the episode pretty much ended. Hey Tiana, from what we saw on IG. And so everything we saw on IG before these two episodes aired was what HazelE and Devon had posted on Instagram, and everybody caught it. Amy said Masika was talking so much, saying, "Oh, speak on my daughter again. She just needs to roll on the floor and she could beat Hazel." Yeah, she was saying all that stuff, and she was charging over to HazelE and everything. And my thing was that Masika, she just acts like this angry woman all the time. She acts like this angry woman all the time. And I just feel like Masika is just very angry, bitter, and bothered. Because I hate to say it, when it comes to Masika, when you look at her IG page, it's nothing but pictures of her in lingerie, pictures of her in like scanty clothes and everything. And she just doesn't, to me, really look that good. She looks like a typical IG model. And I remember they did an interview with her, I think with either a TV show, radio show, or a magazine, asking her how long she's modeled. She's like, "Oh, I don't model. I just do that from time to time, but I'm not a model." I'm like, Masika, how can you not be a model when you used to model for Nikki Baby's strip club that her family had owned? And they even had a picture of you in a tub of diamonds. And then she used to be a spokesperson for a lot of these hair care relaxers back in like the I want to say late 2000s maybe. And then even moving along from that, it's like everything you do is for an ad. It's like you don't have your own reality TV show. You don't have any books. Yeah, you got Car Barbie Cosmetics, but I mean, who don't have a cosmetic line? Because we all know a lot of these reality TV people be having these little shoe lines and glue lines and all that kind of stuff just for them to make a check, but it's really not a good quality line. Masika seems very angry and bitter. Maybe she feels she's supposed to be bigger than what she is. She does feel that way. She does. And that's why her attitude, it makes up for everything that she doesn't have. She doesn't have a man that truly loves her. She doesn't have a career that she can truly be proud of. And she pretty much has to scrap and scramble for change like a lot of these Instagram models. All of her pictures, almost on everything on her IG page, is an ad. If it's not for flat tummy tea, it's for hair, nails, it's for something. Yep, called Ace of Diamonds or something. She was the face of that club. Yeah, she was pretty much the model of a strip club. I'm like Masika, and plus the only reason why you even got on the show was mainly because you was probably modeling for somebody and you was connected to somebody in the hip hop world. She did model for Nikki Baby's Club. I forgot about that. She's supposed to be on the level of Dre or Erica Mena, and that's not saying much. Yeah, it's not. Because Erica Mena, she does have a resume. Because if you look like at a lot of those like old music videos, and I'm talking like good music videos, Erica Mena was in Terror Squad's Lean Back video. If you look like at that scene where they like dancing like this with what's the name? Kevin Hart. Yes, when you see Kevin Hart dancing and leaning back, Erica Mena, I think, is dancing in that scene. And then Erica Mena, Yes, Erica was in Chris Brown's video too. What video was she in Chris Brown? I didn't know she was in Chris Brown stuff. And then Erica Mena was in Bobby Valentino's, I think, In Those Jeans video or something about jeans. I think she was in that. And Erica Mena worked at Dash. So Erica Mena, yeah, she has a resume and she dated Bow Wow, but I mean, who hasn't dated Bow Wow? And to me, yo, excuse me, Miss Chris Brown. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was old because I think Erica Mena back then was like maybe 16, 17 years old. She was like young, way before like Love and Hip Hop and stuff came about. But I mean, Erica Mena, she put in the work. Now, when it comes to Masika, she's just all bossed up. I'm pretty. But Erica Mena, I want to say, is one of those like old school video vixens that really, modeled and worked for her name into like the video modeling, career. Then you had, let's see, who else was mentioned? Drea. Drea, to me, she just kind of got lucky with the modeling stuff, and she's supposed to have her own show on Zeus too. To be honest, I'm not gonna watch it because Drea to me is not all that interesting. Yeah, she's cute and whatever, but I don't really care too much for her. Because the thing is with Drea was on Basketball Wives, of course, for dating somebody, in the basketball field. And Drea, she really wasn't that liked that much by the girls on Basketball Wives because she got bullied too. When it comes to a lot of these girls that we know so much of now on these reality shows, they had to go through a lot of hell just to be on there. Because when it comes to reality TV, yeah, it's funny and entertaining, but a lot of these people go through some stuff. Like some of this stuff is real, but then other things are made up. But I can tell that even though this stuff is made up and is done for TV, it really does change these people into different people where these people go from being characters to the real people. Laugh my ass off, shake my head, Drea, leaving her child alone for days. Yeah, and Drea, and then they even said that Drea don't even help her own child with homework. And she kind of got dragged for that too. Yeah, she started when she was like 17. I never really cared for Drea's personality. Yeah, it's just flat to me. Drea don't got nothing, honestly. Masika was in So What video with Sierra. Okay, I don't remember that. Mansuka just thinks highly of herself, thinks she's on the A-list celebrity. Yeah, she's not. New sub here, love reviews already. Okay, thank you, Rihanna. But yeah, when it comes to Drea, to me, she's just a pretty face that everybody just seems to like. And so moving along to the conversation with Masika and HazelE, the whole episode just ends here. Thank God. I'm glad it ended. I was getting kind of tired of them just standing around talking to the police or whatnot. From what I saw and from what the episode left off at, nobody got arrested. But I think either BB or Yaya, they did walk off with one of the police officers. And to me, it looked like they was just joking and laughing. So I don't think no charge is going to get pressed. And I think they're just going to laugh it off and it's just going to go away. But Zeus Network did release a statement afterwards, and it says that due to the police being called, that they were unable to finish the conversation. And they said to our discretion that they will never be able to complete this. They will never be able to complete this conversation. And Masika was on a Video Vixen documentary talking about her dead friend, and she was very emotional. I actually looked that up about Masika because Masika was talking about in one of the interviews, because I did a little research, after this whole thing had happened. Her friend, I believe, was a model that she had been friends with for a long time. And the way her friend died, it was tragic, kind of scary too. So the way that her friend died was that her and another friend were in a hotel room and everybody was just talking. And when I say her, I'm talking about Masika's friend and another friend of hers, they leaned up against the window in the hotel room. Little did they know, when they leaned up against this window in the hotel room, the whole window just busted out and they fell out with the window. And I'm not sure how many feet high they were up when they fell out this window. The other friend, I believe, was badly injured, but Masika's friend died on impact. And so that's pretty much how her friend died. They were leaning up against the window, and they really weren't leaning up against the window really hard, but you know how people just lean like this on glass or on walls? They was leaning up on the window like that, and they both fell through the window, and her friend died. Her friend pretty much fell to her own death. And eventually they said they didn't know how the window was so loose or how it happened, but they said it was an accidental death. And so that's how her friend died. When it comes to Masika, when it comes to Hollywood in general, a lot of this stuff, this emotional trauma and mental illness or whatnot, it just goes unchecked. These people think that since they have money, since they have all these fans, since they have all these different lines and whatnot, they're good. They don't need help. They don't need anybody's opinions or nothing. But who knows what Masika is going to turn into, if not worse, after all of this is done. But I honestly believe that Masika needs help because to me, she's coming off as very narcissistic. Somebody who thinks they're the ish all the time, somebody who thinks that they're loved, they're adored, and they're considered and whatnot. And it's all just a dream or it's all just a falafel of what's going on in their minds. They're creating their own reality, but their reality is really a delusion. Masika is very angry with herself. She probably hates herself or her life. Yeah, and that's what it's coming off as. And so I feel like Masika needs help, but the way that Masika thinks and how she sees herself, she's not going to get help. She's always going to think that she's in the right and never in the wrong. And that's just going to be that from these current episodes that B done prove how crazy she is. Yeah. And my thing is, whenever it comes to narcissists, they always try to make other people look bad, but they fail to realize that when they hate people continuously, they're making themselves look bad. So it's like they're building up their own bad reputation or repertoire while they're tearing down the next person. So that's pretty much it for this episode of Masika and HazelE, the conversation. And Masika can dish it but can't take it. She made fun of Alexa Sky child who has a disability but got mad when someone speaks to her child. Yeah, that's a typical narcissist. They always want to talk about other people, but they never want to talk about themselves. So I'm glad everybody tuned in to this review. I'm glad everybody liked this review, and I'm glad that everybody enjoyed the conversation reviews that I've been doing. I'm thankful for everybody who came. I'm really thankful for the amount of views that I got on the last video. That's like my fastest video on my channel because I did a video review on the Bobby DeBarge movie that they did about a year ago, and that one got like 10,000 views. And the Masika and the HazelE video got about 15,000 views, and that's only in 1 week. So thank you guys again. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment in the comment section, and subscribe to my channel. Have a good night.